So Donald Trump said he would crush inflation. So why inflation is honestly coming back? Trump built one of his biggest political comeback on a simple promise. That was, I will bring the prices down. Well, everyone believed. Gas, food, rent, and even inflation. Now, he told Americans he would stop the economic pain. But in reality, what's happening right now, it's more than a pain. But now inflation is surging back again, 3.8% as of today, the highest level in years, and suddenly one question is becoming impossible to ignore totally. What if Trump didn't stop inflation? What if he helped bring it back down totally and everything would be honestly fine? Because behind the rallies, you have to know the headlines and the promises. There's a brutal economic reality. Most politicians refuse to admit this. You cannot cut taxes, pressure the economy to grow aggressively, expand tariffs, and increase spendings without risking inflation overall again. Donald Trump understood something powerful. Americans were angry. Now, they were tired of paying more for every single thing while politicians kept saying the economy was very strong and it was doing really great. So Trump positioned himself as the anti-inflation candidate. So that really worked very nice at that time during the rallies. Now, he blamed Washington spending. He blamed weak leadership. He blamed global instability. And what's happening geopolitically? It's all instability. It's a big instability. And politically, it worked at that time during the rallies, but now it's exactly opposite. Because inflation is personal. People may not understand bond markets or Federal Reserve policy, but they understand paying twice as much as for their groceries. Now, the part nobody talks about because they are too busy paying high prices. But here's where the story gets honestly very uncomfortable. Trump's economic style has already depended on aggressive growth. Lower taxes, more spending pressure, trade wars and tariffs, strong consumer activity, massive investments, promises. And the problem? Those policies can also push prices upwards. So tariffs raise imports cost. That's super simple. Everyone knows that. Now, aggressive economic stimulation boosts demands. Market reacts emotionally to political uncertainty. And when inflation is already very fragile, that combination can become super dangerous. In other words, Trump campaigned against inflation while simultaneously supporting the policies that economics warned could reignite it back again. On the other hand, the Fed is trapped. Now the Federal Reserve is stuck in nightmare scenario. Inflation is climbing back again, but the economy is heavily dependent on the growth momentum and the debt-fueled spending. So if the Fed cuts rate too early, inflation could spiral even higher at the double pace. Now, if they keep the rates elevated, the risk slows the economy really hard. Now, possibly triggering layoffs, market panic, recession fears, and everything just getting super out of control. And politically, this becomes very explosive because Trump's entire economic message depends on the idea that America is entering another boom period, but inflation threatens that narrative. So, rising prices destroys confidence faster than almost anybody can honestly think. Now, to be fair, Trump is not the only reason inflation is just going up or it exists. The root goes much deeper. Years of money printing, massive deficits, global supply shocks, and political spending from both parties. But here's a controversy. Donald Trump presented himself as the solution to inflation while he was rallying, while embracing economic strategies that could intensify it. So, the contradiction is now becoming impossible to hide. Because inflation doesn't care about political slogans anymore. Markets don't care about campaign speeches. It doesn't care. It only cares about the numbers. Economics eventually catches up to everybody now. So, and that leaves America facing a dangerous question. What happens if the politician who promised to save the economy ends up helping restart the very crisis he said he would end the crisis? But if inflation keeps rising from here, the political consequences could be massive. not just for Trump, but for the entire belief that strong rhetoric alone can overpower economic reality. If you like this insight, you can hit the like button and also subscribe for the channel for more insight.